Welcome back. Welcome in. It's Country Roads Confidential at earsports.com. It's a Paramount podcast. I am Mike Casaz on a Monday morning here in Morgantown. That's Chris Anderson. We are going to take some questions, take the temperature of the fans, maybe take a team down a peg or two, or lift them up. I don't know. Got different seasons and different stages, and maybe teams going in different directions. So soon, who knows? Lots of questions, possibly some answers. Chris, where would you like to begin today?
Well, Mike, the first question in the podcast, or not question, but a comment came from our coworker, Andrew. Don't bring basketball into this. Um, well, we're going to, Andrew. Sorry, because I think last night when we were trying to plan out this pod, in my mind, we were going to talk about the basketball thing. Um, and then you put up the Q&A. Well, we can combine them because what I had done was you had done your rapid reactions on the site. I purposefully did not read them because I was going to lead off the pod with me sharing some of mine, you telling some of yours, and then us comparing, contrasting. Maybe we disagree on some things that we saw or didn't see. Um, but we are going to bring basketball into this. Sorry, Andrew. We must.
Hmm.
Because to be quite honest, you rolled through those questions. We see this when we do the mailbag in July and August.
Your default microphone has
99% football,
no volume
Mhm.
will now
and
be.
then get to like 90%, 85%. I feel we are trending very close to 50-50 on the basketball questions compared to football at this point. And maybe that says more about football than it does basketball. I don't know, but let's mix it up, talk about it. So, basketball, Mike, the very first thing I thought while watching the game is I may have underestimated what Harlan Obioa can do, or at least what he looks like. And I get like there's no secret they openly talked about it in the post-game press conferences. Obioa talked about it as well. Like it's just a massive size advantage against a smaller team like Wheeling. But he looks different than a lot of players that we've seen come through here. So as far as his size and he looks is felt the right word? Like he looks trimmed. I mean, I know that's been a discussion about his weight and the work that he's put in, but seeing it in person, seeing it in action, moving together, looking kind of athletic, maybe that spot's not as weak as I thought it was going to be because he looks a lot better and a lot different than he did at his previous stop. Did that stand out to you?
Yeah. So the guy at Niagara is not playing the same sport. And if you go back and you watch some of the stuff that he has online at UNC Wilmington, physically looks different, but just functionally looks different. He really moves. Um, and I say that because he played next to Lorient, who is so fluid on the floor. Like just the way he gets from point A to point B on offense or defense is pretty slick. Like that's a legitimate athlete, like a legitimate Big 12 athlete. You put him next to Obioha, and it's not a huge drop off. He's not the same. Different players, different bodies, different skills. But Obioha moves pretty well. And stuff I noticed, yeah, his he mentioned his second jump. He didn't need it a whole lot last night. He missed one shot. That'll be a test. Like when he's in there against like real athletes, can he do that stuff? I noticed just a lot of like screen stuff, and when he was rolling and setting like corner screens for 3-point shooters, but getting the offensive rebound, which is it doesn't sound hard, but that's a difficult thing to do. Like just to be that big and move in that amount of time. Like how long does it take to set a screen and to see the ball go up? Split seconds, right? And he's there for the rebound. Like that was just good to see. And he ran in transition and you just seemed controlled. Chris, he never fell. I don't know if that means anything to you, but like big guys sometimes are not coordinated. They can't see what's beneath them. They fall down. He was on his feet the whole time. I think it's a good start there. Stats are probably what you think they're going to be. I don't really even worry about that. Like if he didn't do that, you might be concerned, but he did it. You don't raise an eyebrow. You say, yeah, that should happen. And I thought Hodge had a great point in the press conference that it should seem obvious and it doesn't unless you really sit there and think about it. Yeah, he had a size advantage tonight or last night. I'm sorry. Chris, he's 7 foot 270. He's going to have a size advantage on a lot of nights. So that's not like maybe a one-off thing. He should be able to back down and beat up some of these teams in non-conference play, gets his confidence up. But there's not a whole lot of 7 footers in the Big 12. Not a whole lot of teams that put guys his size under the basket and say, come and get it. I'm not sure it was a rare thing tonight. The stats, the efficiency, sure, Sunday, sorry. I'm not sure it was a rare thing because he's going to be bigger and heavier and taller and stronger than a lot of people he's playing in the post.
Yeah, what was his quote? He's a large man amongst large men, or something similar to that. Like, yeah, I mean, he looks it again. You like you said, looking past the stats, I was looking more like just at his body, how he moved, how athletic he was. They talked a lot in post game about him defending out on the perimeter. Um, Hopefully, he's not doing that too often, but he didn't look like you said, like big men like that size just don't have the coordination to do a lot of this stuff, and they look awkward. They fall down, like you said, and it didn't seem like OBO was that. I don't want to get too far ahead of our skis on this, but I would say that's a very positive development for this team and the potential success for the year. Because again, he's going to be. Last night he played 19 minutes. I just don't think he's going to be a guy even in like competitive Big 12 games that's going to play 30 minutes. Like I just don't know if he's got the stamina. Very few big men can. Like you're just a bigger guy. It's harder to play. You're running further. I know all you guards out there don't want to believe that, but the guards run from 3-point line to 3-point line a lot of the times, and the big men over the course of an entire game tend to run further if they're on this court for the same amount of time. So 20 to 25 minutes is probably his limit regardless. Uh Sorry, do you want more on that?
Physical transformation, though, is it's pretty impressive with him. Like,
Yeah.
you watch the old videos and you watch the watch him on the floor, you're like, wow, that's a lot of work and not a lot of time. And then, hey, credit to him. Um, he got in gym shape. He got gym body. He was doing a little bit of the grab my jersey and wipe the sweat off of my nose thing, which exposes the abs.
Yeah.
Pro move.
Yeah.
But good for him. I'm happy for him there.
That was definitely a dude that like I'm assuming here, but that look like you said, like that might be a dude that hasn't had abs before and is now like, yeah, look at this right here. This is
Mhm.
it right here. Um, Next thing I noticed, uh, there are going to be, or my next thought was there are going to be nights where this team looks really terrible if Huff and Eagle staff can't score. Like, I mean, it again, the opponent is the opponent, so this was always going to end up the way it ended up, regardless of whether Huff or Eagle staff had big games or didn't. But 3 of 14, that's tough combined. And all threes, not a single non 3-point shot attempt between the two of them. And only two free throws. I thought it was zero, but two free throw attempts between them. So they're not driving to the basket. They're not really getting out on fast breaks. It's a lot of spot up stuff, a lot of dribble shots, off the dribble shots. It's going to be successful. Apparently, it was very successful against Maryland in the not so secret scrimmage.
Mhm.
Um, Not quite as successful last night. And again, it's just kind of one of those things. It's in my mind. That's going to happen. It's always going to happen when you got sports, the guys that score the way that they score, that they're going to have tough games. You just got to find that third or fourth guy. And I mean, last night, Lorient stepped up. OBO looked great, but is that going to be consistent enough to like be like a 20-win team? I don't know. So it kind of stuck out to me that they, as good as they were in that Maryland game and how much they were getting hyped up after it, to see them shoot like that was rough. Because and I say that not because I mean anybody could go 2 for 7 and 1 for 7 from three, but to then just not do something else. Like I know Huff like ended up with what I think they talked about it, the best plus minus,
Mhm.
but 0 rebounds and 2 assists, and that's it. Like again, there's more to what's in the stats in the box score, but I was left wanting more. Let's put it that way. As pleasantly surprised as I was about OBO's play, I was equally as huh about Huff and Eagle staff in this one.
Yeah. Uh, Huff's about 75% 3-point shots in his career,
Yeah,
the ratio. So he's not going to spend a lot of time in the paint.
no.
He went to the corner a lot or the wing a lot and just stood there and it became like 4-on-4. They do use him to flip the floor a bit, like to open up the floor. That was kind of fun to watch, but I don't think they ran like if they ran two plays for him, I'd be surprised. So that was interesting to see because I wanted to see how they were going to use him in the offense, but I imagine there's probably a lot of people who wanted to see him that are in the Big 12, that are in the SEC, that are in, in the film rooms, the teams that are coming up to play. They didn't play Eagle staff and Huff hardly together. Like they started each half, and then I would say in either half and maybe just the first half, one run together, separate from that. So collectively, like I don't know, maybe like 6 4 minutes together, something like that, 6 to 8 4 minutes. So that's not going to be the case in the season. So I don't have a whole lot about them because I just didn't see what I was looking for. But also the size advantage and the way that they were going to score, they did not have to like execute a game plan to win that game. I don't think. Just that Wheeling's team is engineered for a conference that's totally different. A level of basketball it's totally different. They don't have the big bodies. They weren't going to be able to hang with Lorient Nobioha, and I thought they did a lot of stuff to guard and to make it harder on Huff and Eagle staff, who still got off 14 3-pointers. So they're still going to do their thing. They got to make them. I don't know yet. There's there's size concerns and defensive concerns I have for both of them, even on Sunday. But those are negated if you're making threes on the other end. That would drive Huggins crazy. You make a three on one end, but you give up a two on the other, so you have a 1 point plus. It's a 2 point game. Don't know, but yeah, just the fact that there was nothing else in the stat sheet for them minus the plus minuses, which who knows. That just seems like it's deceptive. They're not that type of player, but that also wasn't a game for them to go off on. And if they played as well as it sounded like they played, like Hodge saying they had 23 assists and 4 turnovers,
Yeah.
and he'd never seen a team make 23s in a game. Like he'd let all those stats out in the post game. You're probably not too worried about that.
Yeah.
Also, he made
Um,
like 100 threes at the Woodburn thing on Friday night. Like keep some in the bag, man.
yeah. Um, Chance Moore, question mark. I sometimes, Mike, I get like, originally, obviously knew he's on the team. Then remember, oh, he's out for 5 games. So then I wouldn't say I just forgot about him, but then my focus turned more to the guys that were going to be there for game one. And then you see him out there again, a little bit of, oh yeah, oh, he was brought in to be one of the dudes here. And I don't want to say, and so my next thought was like, let's not forget Chance Moore. Like again, it's going to be 5 games of them figuring stuff out without him. I don't. I mean, I haven't remembered the schedule off. Is there a tough one in the first five? I mean, Pitt's in the first five, right?
It's Pitt, and that's pretty much it. It's
Yeah,
Mount St. Mary's, Campbell,
Lehigh.
Lehigh, Pitt, Lafayette.
Yeah. So it shouldn't come in as big of a factor, but it is something that again, I didn't forget about him, but he was put into the back of my mind because he wasn't starting the season. And now it's like, oh yeah, don't forget that guy's coming back at Thanksgiving. That guy's going to be there when they go to that what do they call the tournaments? No, I mean I know where, but
MTE.
MTE. There you go. Um, he'll be back for that. So and that's when the competition is going to ramp up. He'll be there to help him ramp up. So I liked what I saw in limited action from him, and it was a good reminder that oh yeah, that's more help is coming from what you're going to see at the very start of the season.
And Jackson Fields too.
That's right. That was the one guy we didn't see. I sat there and you know how long it took me? Again, I sit here and I'm like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 players played. That means somebody didn't. Who didn't? Who didn't? And, oh yeah, the guy with the thing on his wrist. That guy didn't play.
I'm a big Moore fan. When they were when they were uncertain about his status and it was happening very quietly, I was told that was a big deal if they did him, which ooh, secret, right? It was worth going for and trying to be creative and make it happen. To take him in and have an idea how you can maybe get his season back, less 5 games. And you can kind of tell I don't know if he's Brennan Lorient, different size, whatever, but Lorient gave Hodge an ability to play just a different style and have a really good bench player, like an all conference player who was the sixth man of the year in the conference. So first team all conference, first guy off his bench. That helps. Yet Lorient was able to give you like 5, 4, 3 different positions, different lineups. Moore's not the same. He's a smaller guy. He's much more of a guard than a forward. He's a big guard. He's 6'6", 210, maybe 215. That said, he can play the three and the four. He can play the two. He can match up in the backcourt for you. He's a good defender. He can really run the floor too. Probably one of the things that kind of fell short of expectations last night was their transition stuff. But there were some moments where he was really trying to gun and make something happen on the break. And if you lose that guy for 5 games, I feel like you're kind of losing multiple players because you have that you lose that lineup flexibility.
Yeah.
So if he could play the four in a small ball lineup, or he can play the two in a big lineup, or like a wing in a big lineup, do you lose 2 players there because you lose the ability to play that? I don't think they can put Morris Ugasuk into the four. And then it's not the same if you get Fields and you play him there. Like he probably is more of a four than a two for sure. Just that you lose that. And then if some team goes small and you want to have an advantage, you can't have him at the four. If some team's got really big guards or really good shooters across the wing, I guess Ugasuk could do that. I mean, I'm assuming he'd be the next guy in. It's a little bit different there, but I do like him. I think it's a big addition for them. And here's the great part, Chris. They lose him for 5 games. Those 5 games happen in 13 days.
Yeah.
That's not a ton of practice time he misses. Like he can still practice, but if you're out of sight, out of mind for 5 games, you're not in the game plan. You're not really getting like high quality practice. The first 5 games last year, Chris, 24 days. So almost twice as long last year, he'd be absent. But they cram him in this time, 3 games in the first 6 days. And like I said, 5 in the first 13, I believe. That's not a lot of time for him to be out. And he can still practice and be a part of things. You get him back, and you're right, you get him back just in time to add a really good piece for a tournament when they play Clemson, which I think is going to be their top opponent to that point. They'll be better than Pitt. It's an unfortunate situation, but it's briefer than it could be. You're definitely going to miss him. He's hard to replace. You feel like you're losing multiple pieces. It could be worse, though. Schedule's easy. It happens fast.
Yeah. 3 games in 5 days. Like that's, I mean, you've already pointed out it's abnormal, but it's still like racking my brain because like once they get into the heart of the season, it's still just twice a week.
Mhm.
Like now you're doing 3 in 5 days. So that this is something they just don't do. Um, next a couple of more small little things that I noted in my notes from the game. Amir Jenkins rotation question mark. I mean, like first guy off the bench. Like, I mean, caught me off guard. Like, I mean, again, part of me is, hey, he's a freshman that's similar size to KJ Tenner, who Tenner got onto the court, but he was not ready. Like, he shouldn't have been on the court under normal circumstances. I don't think Tenner is playing as a true freshman last year. But Jenkins is, I think, an inch or two taller, but similarly, like 165 pounds, 170 pounds, so kind of smaller. But then the other part of me was, you're not convincing a guy to reclassify and enroll early if you're just to ask him to redshirt again. So I don't know what I was expecting, but seeing him as one of the first players off the bench, like I think it was like 2 or 3 guys all came in at once, like just 3 minutes into the game, and there he was. Is that going to be the normal? Is he part of this? Like, I mean, we'll see. It's going to change when Moore and Fields come back because obviously we're fully expecting them to be part of the rotation, but is Jenkins part of it?
Who's their backup point guard?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know where they would be in the backcourt without him.
Yeah.
Like getting him to reclassify was probably a significant thing. He's their only other ball handler right now. Like Huff and Eagle staff could, but I don't know if you want them. You might. We'll see, but you don't have to worry about it. It's a plus for them. I don't know where they wouldn't have as much depth in their backcourt. He's different than Floyd. Floyd is very. Floyd is like in the constructs of the game. He does what he's coached to do, and he does what he's seen work thousands of times over the years for playing games. And Jenkins is just kind of a little bit more of a freelance. It's coloring outside the lines a little bit. Just it looks different. It's less instructed and more inherent. I don't know if that makes sense, but like you can tell Floyd's a college veteran and is the extension of a coach. And you could tell Jenkins is a guy who was really good in high school and has got some of that flair. Just a different player. It's a nice change of pace. Probably never see those two together. It was interesting to watch Jenkins and Huff side by side because that's a little small. in the backcourt, and you got to have somebody big out there with them too. Um, More concerning to me, Chris, is that shoulder brace looks very restrictive.
Yes.
Don't know what happened there, and just the post game comments was, yeah, he's gonna have to play through it, and he'll just deal with it for a while. And like you're like, well, that thing should be going away soon, right? So I wonder how does that? I mean, I'm not even worried about him shooting
Yeah, I don't even know how
right-handed.
you shoot with that thing on.
Sure, I'm more worried about. I'm not even worried about the mechanics. I'm worried about a guy who tries to drive and gets hit, gets knocked down, who gets screened, who tries to get a rebound. If that shoulder's bulky, that really limits you from doing stuff. Or it's going to hurt like heck when you do stuff. Maybe he's fearless and he goes and doesn't got to bite my lip and go. It still hurts. Sooner or later, that takes a toll on you. I don't know how bad the shoulder is. I'm going to guess it was probably hyperextended or something like that. And it's just kind of, that's in there for stability purposes so it doesn't get separated or it doesn't get dislocated. Something like that. Maybe he fell and it just jammed it in a wrong way. Don't know. I'm projecting. I just know that you're not wearing that unless you need that because you don't want to wear that. And if you need that, boy, that's going to be a real hindrance for a guard who you'd like to drive, who you know is going to be facing screens on the perimeter, who is going to have to try to help you rebound. And just think about like loose balls in the backcourt and dashing for them. What goes first? Your arms, your shoulders. Keep an eye on that. There's sometimes I just winced watching that.
Yeah. Last little thing I had, it was very small, but Abraham Oyedeer, like, I mean, he didn't play at all last year. Obviously, we knew that. Entered the portal, exited the portal, came back. And then I learned on the stream, the announcer said he didn't even play in the scrimmage against Maryland. So this was literally the first time he's ever touched the court. And he was going out for just the last couple minutes with like the guys that no offense to these guys, but like they were brought in to just fill out the roster and be practice players. I think given the lack of big men, I thought maybe he might be able to carve out a little bit of a role. Like again, like in my mind, it was like, oh yeah, Obioa for 20-ish minutes, then like 10 of them to 12 of them where you're going with like Lorient and Jackson Fields and going with that as your quote unquote center rotation. And then maybe a handful of minutes Oyedeer depending on a matchup. It seems to me like he might be player 14 out of 15, in that area. Like, is this, I mean, again, this is a small observation, but it just caught me when all of a sudden he came in. I was like, oh, yeah, oh, you dear. And then the very first thing they say on the stream was he didn't even play in the scrimmage. This is literally the first time he's touched the court.
Did not know that. That's not a good sign. I don't think they played a couple of people that played in that game, so that's not a surprise. They're probably much closer to the 9-person rotation. So yeah, that doesn't work for him. That was a much more competitive game too. They're trying to win that game. He probably got in that second scrimmage against Maryland, I would think, right? Then they said they're going to do like a scrimmage for like 10 minutes with guys who didn't play, but I guess not, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So more of a concern, I think, for a different coach. I just don't think, I think Hodge has not backup center. I think he has backup lineup. So when you lose your 7-footer, switch hands, play something different, and then you go centerless. And I think, yeah, you're right. Lorient, probably Fields, probably also Thomas would play way before Oyedeer would. Now, question is like if you're getting hammered on the boards and it's not a good idea to have Fields playing the 5. If teams have a 4 and a 5 that are really big and Obioha gets in foul trouble, if Obioha rolls an ankle and misses 2 games, you'd like to have somebody bigger and ready to go. But how much bigger is, and Chris looked this up for me, but how much bigger is Oyedeer than DJ Thomas?
Oh yeah, are we doing this thing where you remember that photo? The team photo came out and it was like, yeah, he's 6'7" or whatever, and it was like, no, he's
Who
the
is?
same height as I think it was Thomas was like
No way.
was
He's 6'8", maybe 6'9".
yeah, that's what he's listed at 6'7", but in the photo he's as tall as Oyedeer, who's listed as 6'9". So
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you he's 6'9", at least 6'8". But again, I mean, the same size. So what's wrong with having Thomas there? At this point, you feel better about Thomas than you do Oyedeer. But I also like Oyedeer too. I mean, if he's a guy who wants to be here, and it seems like Hodge and his staff can whisper things into players' ears about, hey, you're a really good shooter, but you can't play defense. Transfer here. We'll teach you how to play defense. Hey, you're a big who wants to get his body in shape, so maybe you can make some money playing pro basketball. Transfer here. We'll get you with our strength staff. You'll lose 60 pounds, be a back to the basket 7-footer. Like, I wonder if they can work with there's something there for sure. He's a talented kid who had offers despite very limited exposure and experience. Something there. You
Yeah.
hope you don't need him this year, but you hope you get him ready.
Okay. Well, I think that was most of my observations there was, and I know mine was very personnel specific, but how much overlap did we have with your rapid reactions to the game? Again,
Similar.
I didn't read yours because I didn't want to. I wanted us to try to go blind here.
Yeah, similar. I did mention the one of the points was that the first point actually was that that 5 game audition without Moore is going to be interesting. Another one was that the team is going to change soon. Like we saw, essentially just a 9 man rotation. I don't know how much more he really wants to go beyond that, but you're going to add Fields. But if you add Fields in the first 5 games, which sounds like maybe is going to happen, I'm not sure if he'll be there for game one, but certainly in the first five. Well, then you're still at 9 because you lose more. You add Fields, but Fields is going to play. So do you go to 10? Do you pare it down to 8? Definitely talked about the interior passing. Thought that was really kind of a big thing for this team because what do you do? Like if you're going to get beat up by Obioha and or Laurie inside, you're probably going to send a second defender. You're going to cheat a little bit off the perimeter. Do that at your own risk against Huff and Laurie, or excuse me, Huff and Eagle staff. And then if you got big guys who can just pass, whether it's like short pocket passes from high post to low post or low post to outside or hitting a cutter, that helps. It looks like they have 2 guys who can do that. And then yeah, my point here was intentionally unimpressive question mark on Huff and Eagle staff, like just 3 for 14. Jaden Forsyth had as many threes in about 6 minutes as those guys had in the entire game.
Please put an
He
asterisk on those threes, though.
was chucking. He was chucking. He was the walk on that gets in the game. The crowd's going crazy, but he can shoot for sure. That's why they got him from Xavier. I think that was probably a bit. They didn't need those 2 guys like they did against Maryland, and they weren't hot like they were against Maryland. I just think people are watching this game and it's on TV, and let's not give everybody everything right away.
Okay. All right. There was our hoops conversation to start off the mailbag, just as Andrew didn't request. What was requested in the next question was from C. Hush. Can we have a pod dedicated to the donor conversation? I honestly feel like that is the most important topic currently. What happens this offseason will likely dictate the next decade plus. That's strong, but maybe not wrong. Yeah, we talked about the donor thing for what, 15 minutes at the end of the last pod. Now it came at the end, so it doesn't seem as important, but obviously it was. We dedicated a lot of time to it. And you're right, Hush. I mean, it is. It's extremely important. Decade plus, maybe. I mean, everything's connected. And if you go a long stretch of being irrelevant in football, you can be forgotten entirely. So, Mike, have you received any strong feedback from our conversation in the post game? Since you were the one that requested the conversation the first time.
Yeah, lies. No, it was pretty obvious. I was squirming a little bit. I think it was obvious, especially if you had the video part. I definitely made myself visible at the Coliseum, and I mean, I get emails and texts a bunch about stuff. And I wasn't sure Saturday night what that was going to be like. It wasn't much, but it was just positive. Like, hey, you're right. Hey, they got to hold so and so to account for this. People think that West Virginia has a lot of donors or enough donors, and it's not true. So I think just to add some reality to it was good for those people. So and nobody was mad at me about that. But maybe the mad people haven't spoken to me. I'm not sure. Not hard to find me. Uh, the big thing I get is that like this is why they're kind of really emphatic about raising money through the athletic department, through the administration, through Golden Blue Enterprises. It's reckless to rely on donors, especially when you have a big one who just says, I'm not going to give you all that I promised to give you, or I'm not going to follow through on this. So you're kind of holding the bag and you got to be creative by asking people and going with your hat in your hand and saying, can you help me out this one time or this third time? You remove that a lot if you can do it yourself. And for West Virginia to be, hey, can we have a plan of action here? Come back in February and show me how you're going to raise money and make this an upper quartile athletic department in the Big 12. It's for situations like this, so you don't have emergencies that you have to, call the fire department and put out the fire.
All right. There's obviously, and we've talked about this before, but there's different ways you can raise money. There are the Try to get the big fish, get two donors to donate, 5 million apiece, or to go get 100,000 donors to donate, a smaller amount of money. Obviously, it'd be great if you could do both. You could combine the two, be covered. Something that I know our message board loves to talk about is Clemson's plan, I'm going to say IPTAY, the
Mhm.
I pay 10 a year, which was created in 1934 over at Clemson, and they raised a ton of money with that. Now, they've built that through decades of doing it, so starting it now is not going to be as easy as rolling on, the momentum that began back at the Great Depression, essentially. But $10 a year in 1934, that is the equivalent of my CPI inflation calculator,
Oh.
$246.06. So let's say 250 bucks.
Mhm.
250 bucks, we're talking 10 million, right? That was the number that Rich Rodriguez threw out, that he would like to have 10 million more for NIL than just rev share. What's 10 million divided by 250,000 or $250? Mike, what is that? I know it's 1, 2, 3 divided by 250. 40,000 donors. 40,000 people would have to give 250 bucks. Is that realistic?
No.
Okay. Again, other numbers I'm looking at. I'm just looking these up. I looked them up off the fly after seeing this question and thinking about it a little bit. Um, According to the respective school websites, Clemson claims 180,000 living alumni. West Virginia University claims 210,000 living alumni. So 40,000 donors, one in five, 20%. I mean, I don't fundraise. Like, so I'm not used to what your success rate is. 20% seems reasonable-ish. Maybe not for 250 bucks, but I don't know. I mean, like the only fundraising I've done is like for my kids' school, and they claim like for my wife's like alumni class, it's like,
Girl Scout cookies? Are we doing
yeah,
this,
no,
Troy?
don't start the Girl Scout cookies talk. But like my wife's former, primary school, they'll claim 100% donations from the class of 2002, and it's because they convince everybody to give $1, and that way they can claim that everybody gave at least $1. Um, that's not going to work here. $1 from 40,000 people might buy you a third string linebacker, but what's the plan here? Like again, I'm spitballing here because on one side we're saying West Virginia doesn't have enough big donors, mega donors, I guess we should call them, like they're just stupidly wealthy donors. No offense, not stupid as in you're stupid people with the money, but like spending $2 million is like Mike or I going out to McDonald's kind of money. Um, Or is it the approach of shotgunning as many small donors as you can and hoping for massive, massive numbers of donations?
I think those are the questions you answer, and that's why they have this moratorium right now, where that you come back in February and show us the plan, and it's huge. That's your 10-year problem solver if done well. So what you're mentioning, that 40,000 times 250, I think something like that would go a long way. 40,000 just seems like a lot of people to me. I mean, that's almost an entire football stadium. So, like, for example, there's 54,000 people at the game. They sold like what, 30, less than 30,000 season tickets, Chris. So you're getting all those people to give a second time on top of that, like an additional sum. Or, all right, we're not going to ask them because they've already given us money. Find 40,000 more other people. So now you're talking from, let's just say from number 30,001. And again, they don't have 30,000 seat tickets, but from 30,001 to 70,000. So now you need 70,000 people. Just seems like it's a long way to do it. 40,000 doesn't sound difficult, but it's not the first 40,000. And again, maybe someone gives 500. You don't have to worry about a second person. I don't know. But I would like to see a plan like that. I would like to see something that's one, it's entry level because you need generational donations, not just once. You'd like to have
Yeah.
something that comes around forever. So, can you do something with people who are college graduates or recent graduates? Maybe something small and it grows. Maybe it's, hey, how about $20 this year, but maybe 100 in 5 years, something like that. Like just maybe that's not aggressive enough, but I think that there's a model there that would work for sure. I think you try to get more money out of the people who currently donate and you impress the urgency of the situation upon them. I don't know how much that works. I think you got to find corporate assistance and just this is a weird thing, but like Diversified Energy is the official energy sponsor of West Virginia sports. Hope Coliseum has the naming rights to the Coliseum. Like those are kind of at conflict with each other. Like one's energy, like here's my energy provider, but not on the Coliseum. But that's good. They found a way, I'm sure, with some sort of conversation and clearance to say this would help an awful lot. 2 million bucks would help an awful lot if you, official energy provider, are okay with this, or official energy sponsor. I'm sorry, if you're okay with this. Well, think about that. Like that's finding a way to create more money. It's not. It's again. There's a triumph in getting naming rights and 2 million bucks, but to do it when there again, like conflict isn't the right word, but like maybe a conflict of energy sponsor, Hope Gas, right?
Can I ask you a question, Mike? Do you think
Yeah.
that they had like a right of first refusal, I guess, to like, hey, we have an opportunity to make $2 million by going with Hope Gas. Would you guys like it instead for the same amount of money? Like, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
like, because you're saying,
that's
because
a
right, these are like competing things. You can't be sponsored by Pepsi and Coke. You can't be, you can't be right. Like, I mean, I know it's not that simple. I know it's a
well,
little
Chris.
more intricate than that.
They take the labels off water bottles
Yes.
at news conferences because Coke's our sponsor. Well, like you had a coach who loved Mountain Dew, loved Diet Mountain Dew, right?
Yeah.
And guess what?
That's a Pepsi
Like that's
product.
not. Yeah, so like that's an it. So like those things do matter. So your question is, I would assume there was, or I'd hope there was, and I would be stunned if there wasn't a conversation. I'd be disappointed if there wasn't a conversation between Baker and the head of Diversified Energy and says, "Hey, man, 2 million bucks would be great, don't you think? Is this okay?" And I don't know how you work that out, but just look at that. It's going to take things like that. I mean, can you get like is again, can you get Coke and Pepsi? Can you get McDonald's and Wendy's? Just things like that is what I'm saying. I don't know if you're not going to get those. I understand that, but you see my point. It's going to take not just getting big money sponsors, big corporate sponsors, but being creative with it and that there's hey, is there room for two energy names on literally on our athletic department because it'll help us with some funding. It can be like that. It should be like that. Um, and those and like again, are there plans or campaigns that would click? So yeah, it kind of is like that IPTE, whatever. But are there plans? Are there campaigns? Can you find something that is going to be a consistent? You know, it's going to be there revenue. Like you don't have to worry about going around every year and starting up and being like, hey, can we get that time of year again? Can we get some money from you? Just it's automatic. You're part of something. You're getting something from it, and you want to sign up and renew your membership again next year. They had ideas with that. Remember the subscription plans, for
Hmm.
example, for the NIL for Country Roads Trust didn't go anywhere. But they're thinking, and there's a model for that. Like I'm in, I get
Yeah,
something.
it's our model because that's what they that's why they said they wouldn't work with us because they were trying to run the same exact model that we run for our
Yeah.
business. So
So
yes,
it's a
familiar.
loaded question. There's a lot of great answers, and we'll see what they have up their sleeve because they got a lot of time to think about this and to make it work. And it should not be we plan to be in the top quarter and we want to have $10 million. It should be this is how we're going to make it happen. This is why it's going to make it why it's going to work.
All right, Mike. I mean, where else do they go? I mean, right now, I think West Virginia has a mulch sponsor, official mulch provider
Mhm.
sponsor.
Mhm.
Where else can they go? Like, I mean, I, I am not. I want to make this very clear. I am not making fun of them. Like, you
No.
got to find money. I appreciate the hustle, but
Yeah.
when those things come in my email, I do have to chuckle, and it's like, this is our official mulch sponsor, and I'm like, Dad, gone. Because like one, kudos to the mulch the mulch providers. Like they're trying to get their name out there. That's how they're doing business. Maybe they got links to WVU and they're getting a two for one here, helping their business and helping their favorite team. And the school's getting some money. And maybe they're getting a deal on mulch because guess what? The school needs to provide mulch. They need to, put up landscaping and all this stuff. But I don't know where else they go because it seems like they are. I'm not. They're not scraping the bottom of the barrel. That's not like that has a negative connotation here. But they are exploring all avenues
Yeah.
for revenue. I mean, literally all of them. So kudos to them for putting in the hustle.
Do you know who was the toughest mulch player of the game last night, Chris?
Oh my God, no.
Don't forget. I mean, no, that's part of it. Like, so you're gonna see like there was stuff in the mulch sponsorship about ribbon boards, LED displays. You're gonna have signage at different parks. I didn't see. I'm not sure it was there, but like that's part of it. It makes Coliseum more inviting too. But I don't know who the mulch player of the game was, and maybe that's an NIL deal too. And then I was just watching this. Like, so they've detached the bench, Chris.
Oh, yes.
The top four seats next to the scorers table and to the right of the bench are detached from the bench now, and those are for patrons. That's new. I don't know how much money's involved in there. I don't know if it's a season ticket. I don't know if that's just like VIP seating, but like you're right in the action. Like Tony Caridi and Brad Howard to your left, and Ross Hodge is right in front of you, coach bench to the right. That's new. That hasn't happened before. Is that income? And then I don't know if this is new or not, but I was just talking to somebody about this actually on press row. Like, in the Coliseum, they have the huge that's like topless, convertible. I don't know what you call it, but that's so they can move stuff in and out from the Coliseum floor. And it's right behind the basket where the student section will be next year. And
Uh-huh.
it's actually an open tunnel. And people complain about the breeze that comes in sometimes there too, because it's wide open. So behind the basket, into the new student section, the basket that is across from the visiting team's bench. The tunnel is behind that. People have said that the depth isn't great behind there. Free throws aren't great behind there through time. You can feel a breeze, whatever. I don't know if this is new or not. They've covered that entrance area, so it's not an like a convertible. Like I said, now there's a top down, and they sold a Subaru ad on it.
Oh, I was about to say, is there a mulch ad on there?
No, Subaru, pretty good idea, right? But now, like, how many times is that Subaru ad popping in the game when someone's shooting free throws or you're getting
Yeah.
overhead shots? Like that's good. And then this is years old, years old. The back of the scoreboard at the football stadium has like six or nine, not six or seven. Good for
Yeah,
me.
thank you.
Um, Blocks that they sell ads on.
Yeah.
You can't see that in the stadium, but you can see it when you're driving down the street. You can see it from the hospital. You can see it when you're in the tailgate parking lot. So it's not lost on them. Chris, they sold the rights to the tip off last year. I don't know where that went. I didn't hear it last night. Maybe it's up for bid. Ooh, there's an idea for you, Chris.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
But just
If these
things like
pods keep
that.
doing well, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, just things like that. Like what can they put a label on? Like the toughest mulch player of the
What?
game.
Wait, what's the dipper thing for football? I swear I've seen something about like, oh God, I'll look it up. Sorry, you keep going. I didn't
No,
mean
I
to
just
interrupt you. I didn't mean to interrupt you and not know what the answer to my own question was.
so there. I just think there's a lot of real estate out there, whether physical or just part of the game, like a player of the game, the opening tip. Um, I don't know, like just there are certain things you can do that you can get a little bit of money for, and you have a bunch of things that give you a little bit of money, you have a lot of money. Trouble is that like just the industry and the businesses in Morgantown, it's hard to find the vendors and the sponsors for that. Like you're like um I would say if you're from the outside or the inside, like Mario's Fishbowl is a huge name in Morgantown. Just it means a lot to a lot of people. Like what are you gonna ask Mario's Fishbowl to do? Nothing against them, but like they can't give you $1 million. Right? And then are there big names in the town that are just synonymous in Morgantown, like the pepperoni roll stuff? Okay, that's good. But like what are they doing? Are they providing pepperoni rolls? Are they giving you $1 million? Probably just providing pepperoni rolls. So there's stuff like that that you think it'd be easy, but it's not. It's difficult to sit here and give you answers where I'm sure that they've been thinking about this for years and years and years. And this is their job and it's my hobby.
All right, Mike. So I'm gonna have to ask you to draw into your memory here because this was, I mean, obviously I remember the times, but I wasn't covering the team, so I certainly don't remember this. This is the first post for this is from August, right before the season started. The tradition returns. The Nacho Dip Award winners. And each week since then, there has just been one tweet of a couple, maybe a staffer and a couple players standing there with Kroger bags. We're gonna have to ask if that's Gucci Kroger or what were the other ones? Was
Cargetto.
Ghetto Kroger, um, and a toast and bags of Tostitos chips.
So this has something to do with his first time in charge.
I was gonna say the
Uh,
tradition returns. Do you remember this? I don't.
no, and I didn't even know about it, and someone explained it to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't think it's anything. Someone can explain it. I think it has to do with. It might have to do with the coach's wife. I'm not positive. It's I don't remember from the first time. I do know that like former players were happy to see it back,
Okay,
but I don't know much about it. Someone's gonna correct me very quickly in the comments here. Please do
good.
because I don't know a
Yeah.
lot about
Okay, that's right. But for some reason in my mind, I was like, oh, this is another sponsorship.
it. Mm.
There's no Kroger, there's no Tostitos. It just says Nacho Dip Award winner. So this is free publicity for Kroger's and Tostitos. You need to get on that. Make sure you're getting your checks here. Um, all right, Mike. You know how last week I said we went like 30 minutes and only answered two questions, and that was a record?
50? Two.
We we are we have set a new record. We are about 50 minutes in almost and only answered two questions. So let's try to get a handful more before we move on, and I'll answer the rest in written, and we'll have a couple 3-minute videos later in the week. Dana Horsewoman, so one of the all-time greats. You remember that from
I love
the
it. Yeah, yeah,
news
yeah.
thing? Yeah. Is the epic, and again, I'm asking these questions in order of most upvoted by our members. I'm not picking these out. These are the top 5 most upvoted questions. Is the epic failure of 3 of our 5 offensive linemen causing the other players, Cray and Livingston, on offense to look exponentially worse than they actually are? If you swap out those 3 with even just above average replacements, are we looking at a completely different working offense?
Well, didn't that happen Saturday? And it wasn't much better. Like they put two new starters in, and it wasn't much better. I do think that if now that's presuming that you put average replacements in
Yeah, I
those
was gonna say,
spots.
are those the replacements above average players?
Probably not. But yeah, yeah, it'd be better if your offensive line was better. That would solve a lot of problems. You're right, but you knew that, so I hope you feel better getting to work out that angst there. But you're right, absolutely.
I'm looking at it because whenever this question's asked, I always think about that Dior Hubbard stat where I said he had 51 yards after contact, but finished the game with 32 yards. He finished with 32 yards again against TCU. Would you like to take a guess at how many of those 32 yards came after contact?
It can't be 51 again, right?
No, let me put it this way. It is positive or negative.
Oh, oh,
He had more yards than he had yards after contact this time.
I don't know. Hit me. This is great.
31. 31. Yeah.
Hey,
So 14 carries and only 1 yard more than he had after. Like, it's not great. Like, it's just not good. Again, you made the changes, and the changes didn't help. The blocking was still bad. Uh,
what happened to Bowers, by the way?
yeah, what he got to carry like in the first or two
Four
carries in the
snaps.
first couple snaps, and then was done.
I
Um,
got hurt to
I
check
mean, he
on that.
fumbled like on one of them for sure. I
That's
mean,
right.
he
Yeah,
recovered it, but I wonder if like the fumble was just like that's enough. Like we're not doing that. Um,
yeah. I was wondering if he got hurt. I forgot about the fumble. I was wondering if he got hurt, and I mean, he just got back and started the previous game, and he's come out the bench this game, and he gets 4 carries, and Clay Ash is back, and you're just thinking, boy, they cannot get that situation settled. But maybe it was the fumble.
um, 49 yards rushing, 49 yards after contact for the team. Uh,
Jeez.
God. Well, and again, yeah, like the question is, did they replace the two guys with above average or above average players? And the next question is, did they replace the two worst pieces? Because again, I think and this is not my own personal opinion, maybe it jives with it some, but the PFF grades and a lot of the angst from the fans was directed at right guard, and the changes were made at left guard and right tackle. Um, so I don't know. We'll see if there's more changes to come or if there are even other options. Like what
Two
happened to
new,
Carson Lee? He came in at center and looked fine. Now that was because of injury, but he's also been talked about as a guard. He played guard almost exclusively at Eastern Michigan. So I don't know what's happened to him there either, or why he's not an option.
a couple of theories in that. Like, I wonder if Crawford was healthy enough to play. Remember,
Yeah.
he was on the injury report because I don't think everybody's like got to get a new right tackle. Probably third in line, I would think, of what people wanted. So without him playing, do you want to have a completely new right side? Don't know. Maybe that's too much too soon. And then you've changed 60% of your offensive line when you've made hardly any changes throughout the year. Actually, no changes throughout the year. Just sometimes during course of play at the end of games. Maybe that was too much. But also maybe Crawford gets a spot back when he comes in. And maybe if he's back, you feel a little bit better at your right side, and you work on your right guard and say, all right, we got our right side back. We don't want to change out everybody at once. Let's maybe try a new right guard today. Because was Makanioli terrific? Thought he maybe was a little bit better, and maybe he had to be, and maybe some of that had to do with a new right tackle next to him. So part of that evaluation is our right guard is not playing well. How much of it is due to the right tackle? Put a new right tackle in there. Hey, he played better. We'll continue forward with our right guard. But maybe it was as simple as saying we can't change our right tackle and right guard at once. Don't know. Would like to know the answers and would love to pick Jack McNeil's brain about that. But we won't talk to him until March or April.
If that doesn't have a contract that goes through
Hey,
February.
you went there, not me.
No, I mean his contract's up in February. That's not a
Yep.
comment on being fired or anything. But because to your point, is the only people that get to talk are the offensive coordinator, the de facto offensive coordinator, and Rich Rodriguez, and the defensive coordinator Jack Alley. So, um, next question to combo two questions because I think one followed up on the other. The first one comes from Lando. Is Scotty Fox the QB of the future, or are we still looking for QB1 in the portal next season? And the follow up from BNWVU 72. If the answer is TBD, what do you need to see from him down the stretch to answer that question? Mike, I don't think the answer is TBD because no matter what, they're going to be shooting for I mean, unless he literally does a Pat White impersonation for the last 4 games of the season and West Virginia wins out, they are going to go searching for a top end starter at quarterback. Even if Scotty Fox looks good, especially for a true freshman down the stretch, I think they are still looking for a top end quarterback. But what do you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, we just did this with Khalil Wilkins. Well, they got quarterback figured out,
Yeah.
and look where we are. Like, no, it's more than one game. It's more than 1 month. It's I don't think there's any way that they're not going to the portal. Like, he makes it interesting now. He does. There's not a whole lot of value left in this season probably. And the most interesting part that you can come out of this with is like, all right, he found his quarterback, or you feel a heck of a lot better about quarterback. So if he finds his way to listen, if he goes 1-4, 1-3 the rest of the way, or if he doesn't win it the rest of the way, that's not your guy. It's a winning position. That's the guy who
Mhm.
makes the difference. So did some things, could have done more, sure, but can he get to that point where he's winning you games and he's giving you big stats and he's playing clean? Like that's how it has to look. I think I'm jumping ahead here. It's got to be clean. The offense has to be much more efficient and explosive and effective. The stuff that you saw has to grow. And you've seen that in 2 starts for sure. So that's what makes it interesting. I don't know that you get there. I'm not going to go there right now. I don't think it's problem solved. We, again, just did this with Wilkins. You and I were like, come on, seriously, relax. Let's watch what happens. What do we say? What do we say? He runs a lot and he takes hits. He's going to get hurt. He's not playing because he got hurt.
two
Fox,
weeks 2 weeks later, he's hurt and he's hosting official visitors because he can't practice and can't play with the team. So,
right, yeah, interesting.
sorry, did
So
I put that? I think I put that in the story. He hosted David Davis, the Penn State commit.
yeah,
He was his host. So
interesting. Okay. So now Fox played against a forgiving pass defense. He's going to see a really good defense this weekend on the road, like a very stingy defense, and then he's going to get Colorado, but then 2 of the best teams left in the Big 12 at the very end of the schedule. He's got an opportunity, but it's got to continue to grow. It cannot be. We can't be having this conversation 2 weeks from now. Is Max Brown the guy? It's got to be Fox the rest of the way, and I just cannot tell you right now that they're done with quarterback, and I think it'd be silly to not go and spend on quarterback.
yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no way. I mean, again, I don't think there is anything he can do down the stretch that is going to keep them from going after one. Because again, I think your point was a good one there about this position more than any position. If this guy can't win games on his own, and that is a bar you are setting for this position alone. Is it fair, unfair, whatever you want? No other position are you saying this guy has to win, be able to win games on his own. It's just quarterback. It comes with the territory. Like I'm sorry, it's not fair, but that's the way it is. So unless he wins all of these games essentially on his own down the stretch, like leaves his body with an out of body experience, they're going to be looking for another quarterback. So, and that's how you have to approach it. That's not a Scotty Fox thing. That's not a WVU thing. That is a how you have to approach the offseason. Heck, Mike, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when the portal was just starting, you and I were saying, oh, you go and you shoot for a transfer quarterback every cycle, no matter your quarterback situation. You are going for a quarterback. That's only gotten more serious in the last 3 or 4 years. So it was true 4 years ago. It's even more true now.
Did you see our boy Colton Joseph?
Uh, how good he do?
18 carries, 61 yards,
Hmm.
21 of 35, 310, three touchdowns, one pick.
That'll do.
And they beat Appalachia State. So he got one over on the Mountaineers.
Hmm.
Just
Has
pinning.
anybody already photoshopped him in a WVU uniform yet? No.
Maybe.
Um, God, sorry. I swear for those that are watching, I'm not in an earthquake. It's just that my 80-pound dog is bumping into the desk like he's blind or something. Um, sorry. Um, two more questions, Mike.
All right.
L. Schaefer, how do you feel about the 2026 and 2027 basketball recruiting classes?
I mean, we'll know more in a couple of days, a couple of months.
Hmm.
Um, don't I it's a good start. I like having a broad lens on these things and being like, you know what, we're not going to settle with guys who are from the neighborhood or who are connected to a guy I know. They're kind of aiming high. Um, I feel like it's a good starting point. Beyond that, I don't know. What are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, they had big time players on campus this weekend, so and I would think they feel pretty good about the crowd they had with the football game, the atmosphere there. Weather was great. You can go out and do some stuff. I'm sure the dinner at Oliverios was fine, good enough if they were still in town for the exhibition, but we'll see what the ROI is there.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Witty at point guard and Dayum as one of your big men feels good. Feels good as a starter. Not to dampen like some of the expectations here, but we just talked earlier in this podcast about Jenkins already being part of the rotation. And I think you said, where would the backcourt be if he wasn't there? Like he's essentially the backup ball handler. I would not expect Witty or Dayum to be that immediate of an impact guy like Jenkins. So let's set our expectations accordingly with that. But that's not saying they're bad players. You and I both, I think, talked about Dayum being like a rim running guy that's already got something.
Hmm.
And I know how much people hate when we say elite. So I'll say very, very good at defending the rim. He's got to work in the other areas. But if you can start in a very, very good spot with at least one portion of his game, you got a head start on 90% of the recruits in the country. So I think this is a good start to their class. They are not settling, as you put it, like bringing in Sadler this past weekend for his official visit. That could be a big addition as another wing guy, another backcourt player. And then for 2027 class, bringing in a couple pretty elite kids out of Archbishop Wood that we'll see where that goes from there. It's so early. Like, I mean, people, people on the board have kind of gotten on the football recruiting thing because we've gone over the stats about, hey, 50% of 50% of the guys end up being great at your school. Like, there's a 50% chance that they're going to be good, and there's a 50% chance of that 50% chance staying and being good. So temper expectations accordingly, but this is a great start. Not just the two commitments, but shooting for the stars. The old saying of shoot for the stars and maybe you'll land on the moon. Like that seems to be what Ross Hodges' approach is with recruiting for basketball.
Yep.
Last question, and then we'll answer the rest of them later. Sneaking in with the number 5 highest votes, WVU football. Is our NIL budget closer to TCU's or a high-level group of 5 program like USF?
Oh boy.
Are you saying, oh boy, because you know the answer and you don't want to say it?
Well, these numbers are so weird now because I think people conflate revenue sharing and NIL on stuff.
Okay,
So,
yeah, let's be clear. Revenue sharing is the same. West Virginia, we'll get into we don't have to get into the moving the 5 million around thing again, but they are maxing them out as best as you possibly can, and that is the max that everybody else can do. We are strictly talking about what schools are offering on top of that in NIL deals.
all right. So, and just to clarify that, schools can devote 20.5 million to their teams.
Yeah.
It's up to you how much you give to per team, and it's up to the coaches how they use the money. I think that West Virginia is at 20.5 million. Well, we know that. I think that they're at about 12.5 million of football.
Which is a lower percentage than other places, right?
Some are
Or is
higher,
that
some are lower. Yeah,
okay?
yeah, for sure. But West Virginia, I'm pretty sure West Virginia has the highest revenue sharing allotment for baseball in the Big 12.
Yeah,
So it's what you got to do. Like, what have you done lately? What have you deserved?
right.
Baseball's deserved it. Has football? Um, they're kind of bearing the burden of who's before them, but that's reality. I think that West Virginia is probably, oh boy, boy, they're not a group of five. That's a really tough
Yeah.
question. Like there are like I don't know what USF NIL is, but it's not West Virginia's. I'd be very surprised. I would think that you would look at all right, where is West Virginia in relationship to, for example, Pitt or like other of your like Wake Forest, some other in the neighborhood Power Four programs, or even in the Big 12, like Iowa State, Arizona. Trying to think of other ones here. There's really not a lot.
But I
Oklahoma
mean, if you
State.
if we take the question literally though, because it's like, what if USF's NIL on top of rev share? So just NIL is like 2 million, and West Virginia's is 6 million. You're like, hey, West Virginia is three times that much,
Yeah.
but then TCU's is 14 million,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, so West Virginia is closer
Yeah.
to USF than TCU, and that's where, in my mind, that's where I went. Like that might be the answer. Is that West Virginia might be closer to USF than they are TCU. I'm not specific. So I mean, they're closer to USF than they are Texas Tech. They're closer to USF than they are Kansas, probably. So it's a question of like multiples here, and because West Virginia might be three times what USF is, but half of what TCU is, and it's still closer to USF.
I think you're probably right there. TCU was over 8 million last year. West Virginia was right between 3 and 4 million.
Hmm.
I've been told that West Virginia was about flat. People, yeah. So what? Not a surprise though, especially when you hear the stories of the past the past weeks now, right? I doubt TCU regressed. They kept a lot of their players. They didn't add a lot of transfers, but they kept players like Bud Clark. Like I'm sure Hoover got paid to go or paid to stay. I don't know how they would be. Yeah, you're probably right, Chris. Yeah, I would say they're probably closer to a. I hate saying that because it's going to make people mad, but
Hey,
that was
I tried to take the heat off you so I could say what you wanted to say
yeah,
or you didn't want to say, but
yeah,
it's the truth.
yeah. But then I just think for the question would be, are they closer to like Houston was probably again Fritz's first year, probably like 1.5 million last year. Iowa State 2.5 is what I have. Arizona State zoomed, but they were lower than West Virginia last year. And West Virginia was kind of in that that UCF Cincinnati Arizona range.
Oh,
I think
wait, Mike, what happened? Arizona State was here, and then something happened, and then they ended up here. What happened in
one.
here? No,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
won. They won. They
yeah.
won football games, so people
Hmm.
gave more money. God, that's interesting.
Had a star player who brought attention to him. People wanted to be a part of it. But like, here's what happened last year. Like I'm looking at it now: Arizona, BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, West Virginia, Arizona State, kind of like in the same vicinity. BYU definitely jumped. Cincinnati definitely jumped. Arizona State definitely jumped. So you're in that Arizona, UCF, West Virginia class right now. Um, and look where those teams are.
Yeah,
That matters. And look
it
where the
is
teams jumped. BYU jumped. Where are they? They're 8-0. Cincinnati jumped. Where are they? They're tied for
seven
first in
and
the
one.
conference.
Yeah,
Arizona State jumped. Where are they? I mean, they spent on players to keep them, and they gave themselves a chance to win this year too. So it does matter. It's a good question. It's a hard one to answer because I don't know the group of five structure and all that. I would think that West Virginia is not a group of five program when it comes to that funding. I wonder if all the group of fives are doing 12.5 million for revenue sharing or even 20.5 million overall. I do think that there's probably a gap between West Virginia and TC when it comes to NIL, though.
yeah. Well, that was a depressing note to end on, Mike.
Sheesh.
I mean, well, it's reality, and again, this is something that we've talked about it extensively, and people will still come to the board and be like, "Well, I read elsewhere that we're just got a river of cash," and it's not. That's not true. Like it's just not like they're doing what they can. They are finding some money. They are not a group of five school. Like they're not G5 poor, if you will.
Hmm.
But it's going to be a battle. Like they're not going to be one of the top spending schools. They are trying to get into that middle to slightly above middle tier of spending and then hope that they can coach up and evaluate to lift them to the level above that. So, mm. This is the fourth, fifth time I'm going to say, so let's temper our, set our expectations accordingly.
Well,
Ugh.
that and then like you really can't you cannot be upset or mad or offended if this plan comes out in February about how they're going to raise money and it puts a lot on fans.
Hmm.
Because that's how it's going to have to happen. Like, I mean, I'd be very curious to see what they do, like legislatively. Can they get their hands on some of the taxes from sports betting or from hospitality? Can they put like a 1% sales tax in on stuff? They talked about it, like they told us about that. The president and the athletic director told us, Chris, that, hey, we helped them raise money for sports betting and hospitality. Um, Maybe we should get a cut of that. That would certainly solve some problems.
Well, they told
And they
you
get
that. They didn't tell me that because they hurt my feelings. They don't like to talk to me.
the
So,
collective, us. I am we.
yeah. All right, Mike. I think that's going to be it. We're going to take a couple questions and answer it in 3-minute videos on Tuesday and Friday, and then I will take the rest and answer them in written form on Wednesday. Rich Rodriguez radio tonight, Monday night. Rich Rodriguez and Zach Alley, and who knows on the player front for Tuesday, and we will go from there.
All right, lots going on. Stay tuned. Lots of questions answered here, and I'm sure a whole batch of questions coming up this week, though. Until then, I am Mike Casaza.
And I'm Chris Anderson.
We'll talk to you then.